What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to YGOPD, your Yu-Gi-Oh! Professional Development, and I am excited to bring you my 1K special. Wanted to do something really cool, wanted to update a deck that I am very passionate about that's gotten a lot of love on the channel, a lot of feedback on the channel, as well as do some really good giveaways. So the first thing I want to do is I want to showcase a couple things. This is the Marincess deck that I had mentioned in my last video, bubbled out with at my PS5 tournament, got 10th place again. Didn't get a chance to hit top 8 to cut to it, but I'm really considering this for my regional in about a week from now. But what I wanted to do is with Cyberstorm Access, there's some crazy new water stuff support coming out. The new Ice Jade card that allows you to make the new Ice Jade Synchro, both showcased here on screen. That's going to make Marincess an incredibly insane deck along with any other water deck. So I wanted to do is to give people the chance to be able to play this deck for themselves. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be giving away an entire Marincess core. I'm going to go ahead and showcase that really quick, just so you have an idea of what comes with that. And then I will hop into our new sub shoutouts and then into the main deck. But for the Marincess deck, you're going to have pretty much everything you need outside of whatever staples or hand traps. I might do a separate giveaway for that down the line, but for the deck core itself, I wanted to make it accessible, especially with Marincess starting to creep up a little bit along with other water decks. You will get 3 of pretty much everything you need. You will get 3 Blue Tang, 3 Spring Girl, 3 Seahorse, and then you will get double Pascalis. You will then, of course, get the 1 Sleepy Maiden, the 1 Basilamia, if you like that card, the 1 Mandarin, and then, of course, standard 2 Dives, double Gamma Seal, and a Herald of the Abyss as my tech throw-in. I really enjoy using that here. That's a little bit of an extra thing. Didn't really have to include that, but I want to, so that way you have that, along with a playset of Signet Mining in case you want to pivot to a different Cybers deck, 1 of the Battle Ocean, 1 of the Wave, and then for the extra, pretty much straightforward ones of everything, the 1 Bubble Reef, the 1 Argonaut, the 1 Coral Triangle, 1 Marbled Rock. You get 2 of the Coral Anemone, 1 Splash Mage, 1 Crystal Heart, double Blue Slug, and then double Sea Angel, and then 1 of the Sea Stealth Kraken if you want to experiment with rank 4s without spending a whole lot of money to get a Bahamut plus a Toad. So that's what I will be giving away. The video giveaway will happen exactly 1 week from when this video goes live. There will be a link in the description to fill out a form. All you need to do to be entered in the giveaway is make sure you are publicly subscribed to the channel and fill out that form, just so that way I know a way of getting in contact with you, as well as confirming that you are publicly subbed to the channel so that I can see that. And then just make sure you like the video as well. So with all that said, shout out to our new subs of the channel. Thank you all so much for joining. Dr. Drake, E. Curry, Kyle, Lieutenant L, Thomas, Gabriel, Arxis, Card Valor, Renzo, Dawson, Rager, and Lewis. Thank you all so much for joining. If you want to be included in the next sub shout out and you like what I do and you would like to subscribe, please do so. Make sure your subscriptions are public when you sub so I can make sure you're included in the next shout out. But with all that said, really excited to give something cool away that's going to really be beefed up in the next set, along with ideally the ban list, hitting a few other decks to basically bump up this in power level as well by bringing the top decks down just a bit. But we'll go ahead and hop right into the deck profile. Okay, hopping into the main deck. If you've seen my builds before, they'll be kind of similar, fairly standard. I've made a few changes due to the cash dominant format. When I played the case tournament, or not the case tournament, the PS5 tournament, there was like 6 rounds of Swiss. I played 5 cash and 1 sword soul. So my area specifically is very cash dominant. But 3 Blue Tang, best starter in the deck, finally got my secrets. Really happy to have these. They're absolutely beautiful. 3 Spring Girl, not much to say there. One of the best extenders the deck has. After that, triple Seahorse, finally upgraded to Ultras. Eventually, we'll get the Starlight. They've creeped down a bit to around 250, and they might poke back up closer to, I don't know, maybe 300 or so as the hype around some of the new stuff is starting to happen with the Ice Jade things and the water boosts that the decks are getting. Here's where the names get a bit different. I am now on triple Pascalis instead of 2. I am also on now a Basilamia in addition to that. And then we still play, of course, the 1 Mandarin and the 1 Sleepy Maiden, respectively. Had that a little backwards there. But the reason for that is I am now only playing 1 Signet Mining. The reason I play this is, again, in the cash dominant format, I want monsters that are live and playable all the time. From my case tournament experience, this was actually a great choice, or sorry, PS5 tournament. just because Signet Mining, obviously with a Rise Heart Live, unless you have a way to deal with it or Shifter being active, you legally cannot activate Signet Mining because you can't pay costs, because you can't send a card from your hand to the graveyard. So I wanted more monsters than Signet Minings. So if you want to play the 3 Signet Mining, you can. If you want to match this ratio, cut Signet Mining down to 1 and then replace it with a 1 Basilamia and a 3rd Pascalis, is where the extra 2 Signet Minings went. They went to a 3rd one of this and just 1 of those. Basilamia is absolutely insane. If you've never played this card, try it. It's nuts. It is basically Salamangreat Phalanx for the deck. It has that same wording, banishing it instead if a Marincess was going to be destroyed in any way. This helps you, this basically lets you keep playing. If they try to Guardian Chimera under branded Lost, you can still use this because it's not an activated effect, it just resolves. It also helps if you have this in grave already by pitching off Signet Mining or just getting it in grave mid-late game or early game. Like I had a chance where someone gammed my first Link summon, but because I used this as my normal and then linked away, I was able to keep the body and then extend with things like Spring Girl or other cards to keep playing. So a really insane card there with a lot of utility if you've not tried it yet. Rounding out the Marincesses, we have 2 Dive, the 1 Battle Ocean, and the 1 Wave. Pretty straightforward there. Again, the deck is still a clean 40 at a 20-20 split, 20 engine, 20 non-engine. So that's it for the Marincess package. On to the non-engine, starting with the hand traps. You probably should, if you've been kind of watching the meta now, pivot a little bit more to Droll. This is my build from, again, about a little bit over a week and a half ago, but triple Ash. Ash is still fine. I expected a good bit more of Branded and Naturia Runic. I sat next to it all day, never had the chance to play it. So Ash was just okay. It's still probably a hand trap you can't go wrong with playing, but at the end of the day, things are moving a little bit more towards Droll. And then, of course, Imperm is still just probably one of the most versatile best, going first, going second. Hand trap slots you can dedicate to your deck. After that, for the board breakers, we are still maining triple evenly. This is really nuts. To be able to simplify the game state down to 1 card, Marincess really just cooks through that super easily, and people just have not really respected evenly in the main up until recently. You've started to see over the past couple weeks more and more people maining it, but evenly is still just nuts. And then my main change is double Gameciel and 1 Herald of the Abyss. I really wanted to focus this deck on, it's still a going first variant, but in those times where I lose the die roll and I have to go second, I want my 6th card to be as most impactful as possible. I got sick of drawing Nibiru as my 6th card, so I cut those 3 and put these 3 in. Best decision ever. Gameciel is insane. If you're unfamiliar with the interaction with Gameciel and Zealantis, yes, you are waterlocked with Zealantis. We already know that, but Zealantis returns to the owner's field, so if you give them a Gameciel, then Zealantis the board, you get that Gameciel back, which is absolutely crazy. So really, really powerful. If you have not tried it, try it. Gameciel just as a kaiju is a really great body. Easy spot removal, just makes things a lot easier. Hero of the Abyss is a little bit different. If you're unfamiliar with the wording of this card, you pay 1,500 as cost. You declare a type and attribute. Your opponent is then forced to send a monster they control matching that type and attribute to the grave. This is non-targeting, non-destructive removal that affects the player, quote unquote. So if you need a way to get rid of an Arise Heart under Lance, you can do that. If you've already baited out a Dragoon for Branded, you can still then Herald of the Abyss and get rid of it if they don't have another monster on field. And those big boss tower monsters that players use are typically, there aren't other targets that match that type and attribute exactly, so this is a really cool way to do it. And if you own Thrust, it's actually an insane target to search off Thrust. More and more people have been talking about this in the Marincess group. I posted about this a little bit too. But yeah, really, really powerful card. After that, double Thrust, not much to say there, and double Talents. Thrust is really insane in this deck because, again, we're maining cards like Evenly, Herald of the Abyss, being able to set Wave if they stop Triangle. You just have so many targets where there's no reason not to run a card as powerful as Thrust. But again, depending on your budget and depending on where you're at, you can always just cut these for different hand traps of your choice. Droll can easily shut down a turn where you don't need to pay the $70+ for whatever Thrust or Talents are at nowadays. After that, double Desires, not much to say there. This deck draws 2 all the time. You do all of your searching before you use Desires, so there's never really that much of a drawback. And then after that is still 2 double Book of Moon. You can use Book of Eclipse if you want. It might even be better to pivot to that now that people are moving towards Droll over Ash. But again, I like Book of Moon. I just like the utility. I like the guarantee of it not being able to be ashed. And your deck focuses on pushing into a simplified game state that typically one the regular Book of Moon is fine. So I really do like it. But that's it for the main deck. Again, like I said, a clean 40 cards and a 20-20 split between the engine and non-engine. For the extra deck, starting off here, there's a couple changes that have happened. I am on 2 Bubble Reef. I don't even know if I would go back to 1 after playing this. Maybe if Diablosis goes away or Cash really goes away, I would consider going back to 1, but Bubble Reef just is what hard carries the deck. I've kind of built this around the extra deck being more of the win condition than just looping Wave over and over again. Typically, Wave gets you there just fine, but you need other ways, and that's where these come in. They're very, very powerful. It's going to help deter Cash from hitting stuff, and Bubble Reef is really a win condition. Also, being able to Reef late game, bring back a Reef, and then make a second Zealantis is crazy. In that same vein, like I said, we're on to Zealantis. I've been on this for quite some time, even before Cash. I just love being able to make hard 2 of them. It just really guarantees the win condition in the extra deck. Probably one that's still the best dollar for dollar extra deck monsters ever printed. That's like $10 or less right now. Still really, really crazy. After that, standard 1 Argonaut. Not much really needs to be said here. Bad Cash players will always hit this. If you want the target to hit, you should hit the link 3 almost every time. Hit triangle. That really just slows everything down. It turns off Soul Charge, gets rid of access to the trap, all that stuff. After that, 1 Marbled Rock. Not much really to say there, along with the 1 Triangle. Just the best 3-ofs. After that, double Coral Anemone. Again, 2 is the minimum. And then the rest of the 2s are 1 Charmer and 1 Splash Mage. You don't need Crystal Heart right now. I don't build around Crystal Heart. A good player is going to resolve Skill Drain or something like that to stop your plays before you make the thing that's unaffected by Crystal Heart. They're not going to let you get there. If you still want to build around it, you can, but if you have only space for 1 spare link and you're debating between one of these 3, you really should just pick one of these over the Crystal Heart, in my opinion, in the given format. After that, standard 2-ofs, double Slug and double Sea Angel. Sea Angel gets your spell, Slug gets your monster add back to let your combos happen. So that's it for the extra, and I'll go ahead and showcase the side really quickly here. I'll do it in, I guess, going first versus going second cards. Going first cards, Triple Gozen match, still one of the best floodgates of the format, especially with Mathmech popping up. All of their Xyz are Earth. Their monsters are mainly Light or Fire, as well as the access code line is typically Dark and Earth. With Update Jammer and Transcode and Access and all that stuff. So this still really is just one of the best floodgates right now you can use in the Marincess deck, in my opinion. And then after that, 3D Barrier. If you're still 50-50 on this and you want something else and you want to be okay with a card like Anti-Spell shutting off Wave for follow-up, Anti-Spell is still really good, but I really do like D-Barrier. It is still a really powerful card. After that, we play Triple Ghost Spell. I still wanted to keep something in here to respect the Garbo turn skip decks that I've been dealing a lot with at local events, between branded turn skipping with the Gimmick Puppet and Drytron turn skipping with either the Griffin effect with the setting like Thunder of Ruler and the Magician of Black Chaos ritual that like makes you skip your main phase. I've just been seeing a lot of that, so I wanted something here, and now this is kind of back into the fray a little bit too because of Mathmech and Super Factorial. After that, Twin Twisters. Again, you probably need Twin or Cosmic. Lightning Storm is great, don't get me wrong, but I just wanted something in my side that respects back row and still can get around Anti-Spell. A lot of the top decks right now still play 15 plus spells in all their decks. Last card is Contact C. Still a big fan of this. Really like Contact C. It does still really end turns as long as you're cognizant when you use it, making sure you wait for Cash to lock themselves into Xyz, that kind of thing. Really does go a long way. Really does help in a variety of matchups. Really does help turn skip. But again, if you want a different hand trap of choice, like I said, Droll is kind of becoming more popular. Siding Nib is okay. Gamma is nuts. So whatever you want to go, you can, but I like Contact C. So that's it for the video. This is Marincess. This is where I'm at with the build. Probably going to run this back at my local regional or 3v3 coming up here in the next couple months. Depending on how this deck does with the new support, I might even run it for YCS Philly. But thank you all so much for watching. Again, giveaway link in the description below. Make sure you're subscribed, like the video, fill out that link. I'll be having a couple other videos either mid to later this week, in addition to my regular videos, to test out some new camera equipment, mics, and as well as just actual visual camera stuff. So please be ready for that. I'll let you know what those are. But with all that said, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Later.